Yo, what's going on with y'all? It's your boy NeoXO bringing y'all another Black Clover chapter review. Today we're going to be talking about Black Clover chapter 282, and my boy Asta finally showed up with his Devil Union mode. That's what I'm talking about. But before we even get too deep into the video, make sure you guys subscribe with the bell notification on and leave a like on the video. It helps the video out and it helps the channel out. Now, this chapter was quick, but it was fire. So straight like that, Asta... Really what I want to talk about is Asta going into this Devil Union mode. That was like the highlight of this chapter. I called this last week in my chapter review. I was like, Tabata can't just make Asta show up last chapter and then this chapter not show us the Devil Union mode. Now, obviously, Tabata has done things like that in the past, but not with something this big. Like, this was too big to just like kind of like leave us out in the open on to basically guess what the form looked like. We finally see what it looked like, and I'm gonna talk about specifics in a second, but like I said, I really want to talk about this form because that was the highlight. It's clean, dude. Like, this is a very cool design. I want to say this is the coolest design of a form that we got in this arc, because we seen everybody getting new forms. Now, I know y'all probably wondering what I think about this compared to Uniform. Asta form looks cooler, but Uniform still clean too. But Asta form, that man is united with a devil. Like, you can't really get cooler than that. That's pretty cool, honestly. And he has 2 wings now instead of 1. So that's a physical representation, manifestation, whatever you want to call it, of his transitioning into a more powerful person, because obviously 2 wings are better than 1. Yuno also has 2 wings, so it's just showing progression, how that they started off in the beginning with only 1 wing. And there is another thing that reminds me of something in the beginning, but let me talk about some of the stuff that happened in this chapter. So basically, it starts off with, you know, the ancient demon pretty much trying to send out this crazy, enormous, magical blast, and Asta just basically says, "Let's go, Lieb." And what he does is unites with Lieb. Now, we all saw this coming. It's not like this is a surprise. It's just that we were waiting on it for so long. And once he enters into this Devil Union mode, it cuts over for a second. So Tabata is giving us like a couple more panels before we actually get to see it. It cuts over to Yuno talking with Zenon. And this is what I like about anime and manga. I like how whenever they're battling, they get to have these dialogue and banter. So basically, Yuno's talking to Zenon. Zenon's basically saying that they're doomed because they got the ancient demon in the Clover Kingdom. And then Yuno has this smile on his face, you know, because he's like, nah, we're not doomed because Asta's in the Clover Kingdom. And that just shows right there how much confidence that Yuno has into Asta. Yuno and Asta are rivals, but at the end of the day, they are also brothers. They grew up together, and I really like to see Yuno have confidence in Asta. At some points, I feel like Yuno has more confidence in Asta than he does himself, and it seems like Yuno at sometimes is trying to prove himself to actually pass Asta at some point, but he doesn't believe that he is above Asta or anything like that, even though he may seem like it, even though he may act like it, you know, because he's always saying things like, oh, he's gonna become the Wizard King. But I think that Yuno in the back of his head thinks that Asta's always been ahead of him, because if you think back way to when they were kids, you know, Yuno was crying like a little baby, and they had Asta pretty much protecting Yuno. So Yuno was always behind in that sense, but not dwelling too much on that. That's just something I did want to point out. But now, after Yuno has said that to Zenon, then we get to see the full body form. I'm gonna be having a form on screen so y'all gonna be able to see it, but this is a clean form. Like, Tabata just really did his thing with this form. It's just, I really don't know. This is one of my favorite anime transformations. It's just, this is a really cool form. I don't even know how Asta can possibly get a better form than this. It looks like this is the complete form of Asta, you know, like, really, honestly. He has 2 wings, full body on, you know, covered in what looks to be anti-magic. So he also has like this aura around him. I don't know if that's the correct word to use, but he has like this energy around him that I would have to guess is anti-magic. So basically, Asta had a little speech bubble, and he's like, right now this form only lasts for 5 minutes, and that's what I was talking about earlier. This reminds me of, like, in the beginning, he can only use his black form for a couple of minutes. So same thing with this. He's eventually gonna master this form, but for right now, 5 minutes is all it takes, because what he ends up doing is he takes out his demon sword, you know, and just annihilates this demon straight like that. So at the end of the day, Asta is on a completely different level. He just took out a country level threat, being this ancient demon, And honestly, it's kind of funny how Tabata drew this demon. I don't know if this was intentional or not, but it looks like if you look closely on the demon's face, the demon looks like, oh, like the demon is looking like, yeah, this is the end. Like, this is bad for me, because Asta just basically, this was not no small blast that the ancient demon was about to blast. This was a country level blast, you know, and Asta just basically, he basically just erased it completely. It just disappeared. Like, he just erased it with his anti-magic. And we see kind of like the old design of the anti-magic devil back when we didn't know it was Leeb, and it's kind of appearing in the sky above the ancient demon. And together with this devil, Asta is saving the Clover Kingdom, and he has everyone watching, because this ancient demon is so big that everyone in the kingdom can see it. So everyone can see the battle that's taking place. So everyone is seeing Asta fight off against this ancient demon. And you know, they're basically having their dialogues. They're basically looking on in amazement because Asta is so much stronger than them. I'm gonna say it right now, Asta is so much stronger than them because he's the one taking out this demon while they're just looking in amazement and they can't really do nothing. Shout out my boy Klaus. He really said Asta's like a true magic knight, straight up. Like, yeah, Klaus, give him his credit. Now I'm gonna have to take back a little bit of credit from the Silva family, because what are they talking about? What are they talking about? They're tripping. I'm not even gonna go into detail. The Silva family, I'm gonna have to subtract one from y'all. Y'all had +1 last week in a chapter. I'm gonna subtract 1 from y'all this chapter. I got my eye on y'all. So Asta basically goes ahead and he slices clean through this ancient demon with one slash. He one-shots it and he cuts off his head straight like that. And basically he cuts his head off from the rest of his body and he cuts it straight in half. A lot of people were saying he was going to do it in the exact same way that Lumiere did it, but it didn't really happen like that. But this is Asta. This is not Lumiere. It's very similar and it's close enough to where that he still gets his Wizard King props, because Lumiere did something very similar, just not the exact same thing. You know, Lumiere kind of hit him with the hand motion. I remember, y'all know, back in the anime, he did that hand motion. He put his hand down and struck Lick with that demon Lick with that light. So that pretty much took him out. So after Asta takes it out, he's like, he ain't playing no games. He's like, all right, now that that's done, let's go invade the Spade Kingdom. And straight like that, the chapter over. Really good chapter. Now, hopefully you guys did enjoy this video. And if you did, go ahead and leave it a thumbs up, comment, and subscribe. As always, it's been your boy NeoXO, and I'm out.